When they're comparing those guys to Walt Frazier and Willis Reed in New York. Can you believe that?
Not yet. It's a little premature.
I like Ewing. I think Ewing can really battle Reed. But Mark Jackson, he's a great player, certainly a great young player. But there's so many good point guards in the NBA. I think his celebrity status around the league, Jim, is certainly an outgrowth of playing in New York City.
Yeah, everything's a little bit bigger back there. Ewing, of course, plays with that great intensity that Willis Reed had.
Well, the rap on Patrick Ewing the first couple of years, he couldn't sustain an NBA year. He's played every game this year, played every game last year. The Knicks on top 5-3. Teagle's open, Wilkins on him. Here's Mullen through heavy traffic, and Charles Oakley picks it up. Jackson back to Oakley, and Oakley is fouled. Fouls on Mitch Richmond, Jim. It'll be 2 free throws for Charles Oakley.
Yeah, Chris had a shot at the other end, but he took it to trouble, and that just ignited the fast break the other way. The Knicks love to get the ball in the hands of Mark Jackson. They love to get it on the big players on the wing. Now here's that little play.
Well, he really bumped Chris, didn't he?
Well, yeah, but you're not going to get that call between two defenders. That's a play you really shouldn't try to make.
You know, it's funny. Coaches talk about rebounding. Got to get rebounding. And during the summertime, Rick Pitino traded for the top rebounder in basketball. And Michael Cage, the other top rebounder in basketball, was also traded. It was a big trade for the Knicks as they gave up on Bill Cartwright, sent him to the Bulls, and got Charles Oakley. He fits in better alongside Ewing, without a doubt.
And, of course, Doug Collins is happy with the trade. He's happy with the results, him getting Cartwright.
Well, they need a score in the center of Chicago as there he dribbles off the sneaker, and Ewing really is becoming a factor inside here. Ewing is the third top shot blocker of the NBA at 3.56 behind Manute Bol and Mark Eaton. Johnny Newman with his second 3 of the ball game. Neither go, and Larry rips the board down. We played 2, and the Knicks lead 6-3. Richmond.
That's his best shot, Greg. The pull-up jumper in transition. Come down 3-on-3, take a little look. He loves that shot.
Richmond has all 5. His shooting percentage is soaring. He is now at 45%.
This guy loves to get to the hoop.
And Wilkins can really get down low. He travels inside. That's good defense by Richmond. That's going to be a supreme matchup. Rick Pitino's off guard. Gerald Wilkins matching up against Mitch Richmond.
Look at Pitino over there. Looks like he's a character out of Father Knows Best.
Here's Larry Smith over to Mullen. And Mullen scores off the glass, and just a sensational play.
You saw one incredible shot. I mean, there's no way he gets that off, much less has control of it.
Mullen leaves early, hangs himself out. You think he's dead. He gets out of it. Jackson throws it a mile high. Oakley pushes off for the rebound and does not get called for a foul. He completely shoved, I believe, Teagle with his left hand. Oakley, who was just a man mountain inside, has 3. And you have to be careful about turnovers. Ted Bernhardt, the first-year official.
He's going to give him a late call. He's going to...
What is he calling here? Inadvertent whistle, he's saying. He just was exhaling as he had the whistle in his mouth, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I knew it was a late call, but I didn't know it was inadvertent. They just called that basically a turnover on Richmond.
Look at Pitino, man, is he intense. Rick Pitino last year led all coaches in the NBA with 16 technicals. One game this year, he was kicked out, refused to leave the Chicago Stadium, and got fined $3,000 for not going to the locker room. They have a foul, as Ronnie Dunn calls it, on the Warriors inside. It's on Terry Teagle, a holding foul.
Well, when he got kicked out in Chicago, he went to the locker room. They don't have any television cameras down there. He just came up and watched the game from the stands, from the end zone, but they found him.
Well, you know about Chicago. They barely have showers in their locker room. That place is just completely outdated. It's a great facility to watch a game, but it's amazing.
Oh, but they have added heat in the last couple of years.
Isn't that nice of them? But it's minus 20 in Chicago. Here's Johnny Newman on the inbounds to Gerald Wilkins. Ewing comes high to give him a pick, trying to spring him. They roll, and Ewing, a great athlete that he is, can't finish. The Warriors can take the lead here, and Richmond is off to a big start. Richmond has 7 of the Warriors' 9. They played 3.5. Here's Jackson, a 3-pointer, the third Knick 3. Oakley bullies inside. Well, that's what the 3-point shots do, Jim. They open up things inside. You have to extend the defense because the Knicks can make enough threes to keep you honest. Then it opens it up for the big guys. You get Oakley inside.
Also gives you long rebounds.
That's a nice pass from Mullen. He finds Teagle, and then he gets the rebound. Now, does he want to go on to Ewing? He did, but maybe he shouldn't have, but he stays with it.
Great hands. Just got him the ball back.
Well, the Knicks try three and don't make any three-pointers. The Warriors come right back. And look at a block inside. That Teagle?
I think it was Larry Smith.
It was Larry Teagle inside. Garland finds Richmond. He is off to a blistering start. He has 12 points in the first 4.5 minutes, and Pitino calls a 20-second timeout.
Someone's getting tired.
Let's see if it was Larry or Terry that got this block, Jim. It was Terry.
It was Terry Teagle. Good call, Greg. And I'll tell you, the Warriors are just pushing the ball up the court. The Knicks are going back and forth. You're seeing an outstanding pace here, and both teams are huffing and puffing.
Well, Mitch Richmond right now has been the story of the ballgame. He has 12 of the Warriors' 14, as he has not missed from the floor. And he has a free throw and a three-point goal in that sequence. And what he is doing is so critical because Ewing is such a tremendous force inside, blocking shots. And the Warriors need Richmond to shoot the outside shot. And Jim, his jumper really is beginning to fall. Early on, we talked about it being the one element of his game that he lacked. He couldn't stick the shot. He's sticking it now.
But we also knew that he was capable of sticking that shot. And I thought he would come around. I didn't know he would come around this soon. You know, usually a player can develop that shot in his second or third year, but he has really arrived. Of course, he's got such confidence. You know that. The only guy that's really hurt the Warriors right now is Oakley.
Yeah, here's Teagle extending on Oakley. That's the one benefit of the small lineup, the speed with Teagle. Jackson gets inside, and Oakley is just unable to be stopped. The Warriors are leaning on Ewing, certainly inside, and Oakley has gone for 7. He's 3 for 3 from the floor. He only averages 12.3 a ball game. Last year in Chicago, 12.4. That's why he wanted out. He wanted to shoot more. And the Knicks go right off the floor. Wilkins can't handle the outlet by Oakley.
That's why they want it in Jackson's hands. Oakley just passed up. Jackson tried to throw it to half court.
These two teams are going to wear each other out tonight. Garland against Jackson. Ewing goaltends the ball. He turned the block into a rebound, and he thought he could get away with it. That's a bad decision by Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, Winston got this off, and that ball was definitely on its downward flight.
And it would not have gone in.
It would not have gone in. It was going to be a little short. But Ewing, I don't know what he's thinking of.
Should have let it go, but he figured if I grab the ball, maybe they'll call it a rebound. That's not the case. Ewing's first shot of the ball game, and he sticks it. Actually, that's his second shot of the ball game. As inside before he rolled one in. Warriors lead 18-14. Garland with the help from Mullen from top of the key. The Warriors early on were challenging Ewing, get a lot of shots blocked. Now they're starting to hit the outside shot. During this 5-game winning streak, the Warriors are shooting 51% from the floor. Ewing from way out there. And Larry grabs the ball, to the Warriors have turned this game around. And look at Richmond just chew up Jackson, but he can't get it down. And Jackson almost palmed forecourt at a high dribble. Wilkins goes swooping in. And the Knicks are just getting too many rebounds inside. Certainly the small lineup is hurting in that aspect.
Well, more of the transition game because the Warriors are really not getting a chance to set up and block out.
We have a mandatory timeout taken charge for the Warriors. We've played all but 6:02 of the first quarter. The Warriors lead by 4. As I mentioned, the Coliseum sold out for the 7th time this year, Jim, and I'll tell you, as this team gets better and better, it's going to be tougher and tougher to get tickets. The only way to fully guarantee yourselves the seats next year is through season tickets. Dial 415-638-6300 and ask about Warriors season tickets for next season.
I couldn't even get my wife Sandy and my daughter Jenny in tonight. In fact, I've got to apologize. I forgot to call them, but I did not have any seats for them tonight.
Oh, you know you're in trouble when you can't do that. I'm really telling you, it's not a pinch line. It's going to be tough to get seats for this ball club next year. I mean, all of the excitement this year. The Warriors are on a record pace. They're going to shatter that. So get involved. Winston Garland on the pull-up. The Warriors have had 10 of their first 15, the next 7 of their first 17, and Rod Strickland is now into the ballgame playing the point guard for the Knicks. Also, Trent Tucker is in as Strickland tries a 3 immediately, and he sticks it. He is a great three-point shooter coming into the ballgame at 18 of 39, 46%. And he has his first 3 points go. The Warriors up 2. Teagle feeds Larry, and up over Ewing. Got one over him, but missed it. Oakley the rebound. And over to Trent Tucker, who's also a great three-point demon. He's the 4th best in the NBA, and Strickland is the 6th best, and Strickland is now 1 for 2. And Kenny Walker is also in the game. He's dogging Richmond from behind. We have a foul of the reach-in It'll be a 2-shot foul. Ronnie Nunn calls on Rod Strickland.
I mean, this is an easy game plan with Richmond tonight. When he gets the ball in the middle, he's going to do one thing. He's going to go to the basket. Now, it looked like a charge, a lot of people thought. The reason it wasn't, Strickland was moving all the way. He just reached right in, put Richmond on the line. But Mitch is taking the ball to the basket.
He's taking the game over. He is 1 for 2 from the line, as he now has 13 points. And Rod Higgins is in for Terry Teagle. That's Don Nelson's first change off the bench. Rod has been playing great of late. He's been consistently in double figures the last 8 straight ball games. The Knicks now play Rod Strickland at point guard. Trent Tucker is their big guard. Sidney Green now is in playing power forward, getting Oakley a rest. Kenny Walker plays small forward. The lone constant from the beginning is Patrick Ewing at center. Their backup center here is Greg Butler out of Stanford, and also Eddie Lee Wilkins will be coming into the ball game in moments as Ewing knocks Larry down. No call.
I mean, he ran right over him. You're going to see tread marks on him.
Ewing is off to a big start. He has 7. The Knicks have 17 of their 22 from Ewing and Oakley. Warriors up 2. Mullen to Higgins over Sidney Green. And Ewing rips it down. The rap on Ewing is not a good rebounder. Tucker all the way in. And he rolls it off. And a loose ball foul of the Knicks.
Probably a push-off on Kenny Walker.
You're exactly right. Jess Kersey has the call as Eddie Lee Wilkins does come into the ball game now. And Patrick Ewing goes out. So Rick Pitino plays a whole different 5, and Don Nelson has made 1 change, and now comes change number 2. Manute Bol is coming into the ball game. And I assume we'll take Larry out. We have a foul on Rod Strickland. That's his 2nd foul of the ball game. The rookie from DePaul, who is really impressing the Knickerbocker people. They feel he is almost as good right away as Mark Jackson.
Yeah, you've seen the Knicks tonight, and you talk about up-tempo with the Warriors, but the Knicks are taking a page out of the Warriors' book. They are all out pressing, double-teaming, doing a lot of things.
Well, they've been doing that for years, since even Hubie Brown was the coach. What's amazing about the Knicks, Jim, is the way they have elevated their scoring. A couple of years ago, they were the worst in basketball at about 104 a game. Last year, 105.5, and this year, the 2nd best behind Denver at almost 117. And the Warriors have been scoring during this winning streak at 128.2. We could be in for a very hectic ball game, and obviously by the early start we are, as Kenny Walker does not handle that play, and Rick Pitino is very upset.
You know, they get into their offense, the Knicks do, so fast it makes it very difficult to double team. You get Ewing on an isolation situation. You get a lot of players that way. It's just tough.
Well, this team they have out there right now is just completely lightning. They have a reaching foul again as the Knicks are not defending. They're reaching on defense. Kenny Walker picks it up again, and you have to consider Kenny Walker a tremendous disappointment as a pro out of Kentucky. He was the 5th overall pick at 86.
Well, there you see Mullen moving without the ball. I thought actually Walker had a pretty good steal. I really feel that Chris Mullen got bailed out on that. And I think Kenny Walker's taken a rap. I like him better than a lot of other people. I don't think he is, has played to his potential, of course, but I also think the confidence factor has really entered into his game.
Well, I tell you what, he has developed into a pretty good reserve player. Now he's going off the floor, Kenny Walker, with his 2 fouls, and Johnny Newman comes in. But he's the 5th pick in the draft. He was a great college player at Kentucky, the 3rd leading scorer in the school's history. I mean, you have to expect more from a number 5 overall pick than I think they're getting from Kenny Walker as Mullen makes more free throws.
I don't think he's attuned to an up-tempo game. He doesn't run as well as a lot of people, too. He doesn't handle the ball on the wing. That's part of it.
And you mentioned confidence. He plays better on the road because the guarding crowd just boos him every time he touches it. Newman feeds Wilkins inside. Eddie Lee hangs tough, and he draws a foul as Manute swatted the shot, but Ronnie Nunn calls the first on Bol. That's the Warriors' 5th team foul.
And you see 3 Knicks in there. Manute cannot do it all. Now, there's obviously a foul. But the Warriors cannot be content to watch Manute Bol block a shot and hope to go the other way. As I said at the top of the show, they got to get the ball first. That was the most glaring error I saw in that play.
Eddie Lee Wilkins was a Knick a couple of years ago, and then he missed the entire 85-86 year with torn anterior cruciate on the left knee, the same injury that Danny Manning is now trying to recover from. Last year he played in the CBA and played well. He was a 6th-round draft pick. As Garland gives the Warriors a 6-point lead as Wilkins blew both free throws.
Tough shot. A very tough shot. I mean, the ball was overthrown, and usually you just try to retrieve it and save the possession, but he takes it right up in rhythm.
He got to graze that backboard on that shot. He can make that shot. He likes that shot. Garland. We have 3.5 to play, Jim, in the first quarter. Ewing is coming back in. Mark Jackson. And the rebound ripped down by Richmond. Richmond to Garland. And Garland is stuffed. And up top to Bull. Here comes a 3. A little strong. And it glances off a green. He almost hurt himself grabbing the rebound. You could break your finger getting a rebound on that. But Manute can shoot the three, and Don really encourages him to do so. Here's Tucker. He can really shoot the three. That's where he has earned his living. In fact, coming into the year, the all-time best percentage three-point maker in the league at 42%. He'll be in that long-distance shootout that the NBA's done it every year. The Warrior lead is down to 3. We have 2:40 to play. Here's Higgins off a bold screen.
I'll tell you, he's given the Warriors a lift. He has played tremendously. What, averaging over 15 a game in the last 5. And when it gets 31 the other night.
And he's so solid. He's asked to do so many different things. In 1 minute, he's guarding Sidney Green down low on the block. Here's Wilkins. Bowles swaps it out. And Jackson quickly, but Bowles got the rebound. Higgins again. And Jackson the rebound. 30-25 Warriors in a very up-tempo. First quarter, we have 2 to play. And Wilkins tries again. Bowles made him miss. That looked off of Eddie Lee Wilkins. I got to say, it's off of apparently Bowles. And Rick Pitino, the youngest coach in the NBA, at 36 years of age, stops it with exactly 2 to play. We're having fun at the Coliseum.
Manute Bol has really made his presence felt here in the first quarter. There he changes Mark Jackson from a shooter to a passer, and he still reacts to block Eddie Lee Wilkins' shot. Jackson tries to roll it up fast. He doesn't get the roll, and Manute comes up with a big rebound. He has definitely changed the complexion of the game since he's entered.
And he's moving a lot better than he did here Monday, Jim, when he played just 14 against Seattle. The 76ers, a career-high 36 from Ron Anderson, beat the Celtics as Johnny Newman back live, throws it up. And the rebound is pulled down by Moment as we glance over the out-of-town scores. Jersey beaten as Danley at 24. It was Dallas beating Denver behind Mark McGuire's 26. So Dallas is now 19 and 16. The Warriors coming in at 17 and 16. So the Warriors 1 out of a playoff spot. Tucker, these Knicks just keep throwing up threes. And Ewing, the rebound, and Mark Jackson was fouled before he scored. So no basket to Jackson. But a foul is going to be called on the Warriors, and it's on Chris Mullin.
2 comments about the three-point shot. I mean, number one, they're attempting so many, and they're really hurrying. I don't think they're that good shots. And Tucker really forced the second one there. But what it does is the ball comes out long, Greg. You block your man off, and all of a sudden you get one launched from 28 feet out there. It's difficult to block your man off and try to go get the ball, and you can see that's happening.
Last year, the Celtics set an NBA record, Jim. 705 three-pointers they attempted. Now the Knicks, I'll sit down for this. They attempt 13.9 three-pointers. All right, so the Celtics last year record at 705. That's a pace of 1,136 three-pointers. Look at us shatter the three-point record for attempts. They make a lot, though. They make a very high percentage, 36%. Tonight they have tried 7, and they have made 2. As Mark Jackson, he eyes it for a long time before he shoots him, but he missed both. There's a good free throw shooter coming into the ballgame at 77%. Mullin gives the Warriors a 7-point lead, their biggest, at 32-25. And Mullin has 6. This game is on TV. Back to New York, so you know Chris wants to play well.
He just got that offensive rebound on Smarts.
They go around the perimeter to Mark Jackson. And has to take it away. Oakley there. He's just muscling inside. They got to call a charge. They are. And, you know, Ronnie Nunn down low is not going to call a charge, Jim. Jess Kersey made the call up top, and there's Jess. Ronnie Nunn was going to call a foul, I think, on the Warriors. I think he was.
That would be compounding the error. There you see Higgins just stripped the ball. Now watch Oakley. I mean, he just pushes and hits Teagle all up around the face.
Manute Bol with a space hook. Well, actually, it was Higgins' face following his elbow, Jim. That was the call going to be made.
Teagle's face.
Teagle, yeah, Teagle. There's a long shot by Tucker to 2. Oakley, he's a great offensive rebounder, the best in basketball.
Not a great passer.
And the wise play by Mullin. Teagle goes at goaltending on Johnny Newman. And the Warriors, who come in with a 5-game winning streak, lead the NBA's second-best team record-wise by 9 with 30 seconds to play. Here's Ewing from way out there. 100. Patrick Ewing sticks that shot. And Ewing has a 9-point quarter. We have him 4 of 5 from the floor. Coming into the ball game, he's the 8th best floor shooter, 55%. Tucker tips to Ewing. Here's Jackson up the floor. And Garland reaches in, and a foul is called on the reach of Winston Garland. 2 shots coming up for Mark Jackson.
Once again, a turnover. Just got this break going. A nice little spin move by Mark Jackson. Garland, all he could do was just reach in and put him on the line before he went up into the rhythm of the shot.
Steve Alford is coming into the ball game for the first time tonight. He has had a stretch of the last 8 or 9 days that he'll never forget. They said he couldn't play in Dallas, but he's playing very well for the Warriors. Mark Jackson was a near unanimous Rookie of the Year last year, as he picked up 77 of the 80 votes as Alford takes out Terry Teagle.
Well, Alford's a great shooter, and I think he's a great find. He's going to get better and better, and with some minutes, he's going to score for you. He plays, what, 24 minutes the other night, gets career-high 15.
After a career-high 13 a couple of nights before. During this win streak, he has averaged him almost 21 minutes a night. It's a 5-game average of 21 minutes a night. He played in Dallas 10 or more minutes only 4 times.
Yeah, that's the
entire
thing.
year last year.
That's the great thing about playing under Don Nelson. You can be a role player, and Don is going to give you the freedom to play your game. He's not going to ask you to do something you can't do.
Oakley is hounding Mullen. Jackson, after missing 2 free throws before, made those 2. He's 0 for 4 from the floor through his first 2 points as Tucker throws his body. And now Garland reacts a little slowly to cross the line here on this Knickerbocker press. At all angles they come. Mullen has it forecourt. Shot clock is off. The Warriors go for the last one. And they finally, they call a charge or a travel. What do they call here?
I think they're going to call a foul, a hooking foul, running unanswered. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of body contact out there.
And Mullen's very upset. Yeah, I think he has reason. Watch this contact here.
Jackson is pushing him. Now, there's the foul they're calling, the right hand up against the neck. But that's a play that you might want to just let everything go.
There's Tucker from 35 feet. And the first quarter is done, and Mullen is still hot as he heads in. He wants a clarification from Ted Bernhardt. We play 12 from the Coliseum. The Warriors lead the Knicks by 5. The Warriors wind up this long homestand Friday here against the Rockets and Akeem Olajuwon. Also the second annual KFOG Western Appliance Dash for Cash. 3 lucky contestants will have a chance to gather up $5,000 in cash spread across the arena floor. That should be fun. Call area code 415-762-BASS or 408-998-BASS for tickets. That's where they pay Jim and I. They just spread about $500 from the 2 of us, and we fight for it. See what we can get per game, right, Jim?
I like the odds. That's going to go off Higgins.
I don't like it because you're bigger than I am, and you usually get a few more dollars.
Hey, how about those shooting percentages? The Warriors, again, over 50%. And the Knicks from long range, they are not shooting well in the first quarter.
Very impressive. And here comes another Knick 3. They just have a license to shoot from anywhere. As Johnny Newman missed that one. A loose ball foul. Going to send Rick Pitino down the baseline. He's spinning. He's all over the place. Rick Pitino, in his second year coaching the Knicks. Before he took over, they had 3 just incredibly bad years. 84-85, they won 24. 85-86, they won 23. The late game warning here on the Knicks. Is there, what's going on here?
It's easy to analyze their offense. They shoot from long range or they pour it right into the basket. There's nothing in between.
And 86-87, they won 24. Last year, they won 30. Yeah, it's a sizable 14-game improvement as Chris throws the loop, and Manute gathers himself and then dunks inside.
I was wondering when they were going to recognize that. The all-out press, you get in the hands of Mullen, it's going to open up Manute, and he looked for it.
And Manute against Ewing for the first time tonight goes over his back and commits a foul. And that's the second foul of the ball game on Manute Bol, who was playing a lot of minutes. He looked very bad in practice yesterday, Jim. It was very doubtful he would play any quality minutes tonight, but he has a little pad on his right knee, and he's out there playing. And he's a factor as Ewing drops the ball. It's free. Newman beats Bol before Bol can get on the rim. He dunks. Johnny Newman's first bucket of the ball game. He was 0 for 4 before that, but 2 of the misses on 3-point tries. Warriors up 5. Here's Alford. And it went in.
Again from Mullen.
It's Jackson, Newman, Wilkins, Oakley, and Ewing. The starting 5 for the Knicks.
And the guy misses 2 free throws a while ago. Let him have the 3-pointer.
Another 3. This is getting ridiculous.
I mean, if I were the Warriors, I'd like what's happening.
Here's Mullen, and he goes it off the glass. And Higgins knocks the ball, and he backs the save. Oh, what a play. What a play by Rod Higgins. And we have a charge called on Mullen.
That's a good call and not a wise decision. You cannot go in there with 3 men. Just appreciate that great play by Rod Higgins to just bring the ball back into your possession. You know, Chris is a confident player. He's a good player. Now he's taking himself out of the game here, possibly with 3 personal fouls early in the second quarter.
And he's got number 3 there, and that's going to hurt. Manuda's going off the floor, and they leave Mullen in as they bring Larry Smith in the ball game. So Chris is playing with 3 personal fouls. Getting number 4 here would be a total catastrophe. They clear the side for Newman, let him go on Mullen, who can't really defend him all he's got. And Newman chews everybody who missed it. Larry to Richmond. Richmond is really playing tonight, and Ewing rips down the rebound, but Higgins knocked it out. And it's the Warriors' ball. They say it's off of Ewing.
Yeah, he took it all the way down. Once again, Richmond just going to the basket, and you see Ewing goes way up there for the rebound, just can't control it.
Here's Mullen, and Oakley just bear hugs him. Why would Charles Oakley do that? He just hugged him around the mid-court area, and that's Oakley's 3rd foul of the game. Very bad way to take your 3rd.
Well, he's trying for the steal, and he just got caught up in the air. Mullen protects the ball with his body. Oakley just couldn't come down anywhere without having contact with Chris.
Winston Garland is coming in, and Chris Mullen is going to be forced off the floor here with his 3rd foul. Mullen is 3 for 7 in the ball game. He has 8 points. Charles Oakley is also going off with 3, and so is Patrick Ewing. And Richmond continues to have a solid ball game. 16 for Mitch on 6 of 8 from the floor. And again, this game is being televised back to New York. So their first look at Richmond. And let's face it, if you want to win the Rookie of the Year award, it's wise to impress the people in New York City. Here's Green by Larry, dropped the ball. Well, they're going to call a jump and not an up and down. They're going to call a jump, saying Larry tied up Sidney Green.
Nice hands in there by Higgins, and of course, once again, Smith reaches in, disrupted dribble. I don't know how can they call that a jump ball, because he let go of the ball. Usually it's still a live ball in that situation. I think that's what Pitino was talking about.
I think he has a beef. I think he's left the ball there. Jackson going to spin an Alford and try and exploit him, and he does. And Don Nelson thinks that Jackson hooked Alford on the way in. He clearly beat him with a very impressive 360 spin dribble.
Yeah, but Jackson's very, very adept at that little hook, and you see the left arm just go right into the side and the rib cage of Alford. He has a great little turnaround shot like that, moving. He doesn't have a great stop and pop jump shot. That's why you can't call him Walt Frazier.
Yeah.
But he does have that little glide and float shot.
He finds a way to get it done. He's shooting a 46% this year, scoring 17.2 a night. His average is up from last year's 13.6, but his assists are down, and that's disturbing to people in New York. 10.6 a game last year, the 3rd best, and this year he's down to 8.2.
He might be looking for a shot just a little more often than people would like.
Mark Jackson made one of the 2. Well, actually, he made the only one he had. It was a 3-point play. He has 5 points. And the Warriors turn it over again, and Don Nelson goes to his bench for Terry Teagle. Teagle was just glued down to that bench for a long stretch, but he has played very well the last 3 ball games out. 22 here against Seattle for a career high.
Look at the spread offense right now with the Knicks.
There's nobody in the lane at all.
And they're just trying to get a little isolation.
Wilkins is double to the baseline right.
Warriors substitution number 20, Terry Teagle returns.
And Terry Teagle is in, and Steve Alford goes off the floor. The shot clock is at 6 for the Warriors. Or for the Knicks, I should say. Mark Jackson is set to throw the inbounds. Does so to Green. The Knicks are in trouble here. Long shot, and that has no chance. Richmond playing beautifully. Over to Teagle. And the Warriors have a 10-point lead.
You talk about having a dimension. Terry Teagle can put the ball in the basket from 20-foot range.
And when you look at the 5 Knicks that Rick Pitino has out there, he is playing small again. Harold Wilkins trying to take Richmond. Mitch is all over him, and he sticks a very tough shot. That's great defense, though, by Mitch.
Okay, who's going to bring the ball up the court here? Okay.
Winston Garland against the 3-quarter court trap. The Knicks will wear you out on the trap. Richmond goes at everybody, and he gets himself on the free throw line as Rod Strickland is coming in for Rick Pitino, Jim, and they're going to take Mark Jackson off the floor. And again, you know, the opposing coach is not trying to get big on Don Nelson's small group, but he's now Oakley has to be on the bench. He has 3 fouls, but Patrick Ewing is not out there, and he plays a lot of minutes. Eddie Lee Wilkins now will come into the ball game for the Knicks to play center. Well, Don Nelson, I was talking to him before the ball game in the coach's corner, Jim, and he said, you know, I think little guys, if you put 5 little guys out there, they can beat 5 big guys. And he's seen it happen in Milwaukee for years. In practice, it happens maybe 7 times out of 10.
Yeah, all the time. And you can go right down to one-on-one situation as you look at a big 7'7" guy right here. But you play a guard against a big man, the guard will chew him up every time in a one-on-one situation.
So why is the NBA so big man crazy?
Well, because the court is so small. Now you get big guys in a smaller space. It puts a little different perspective on it. You know, one-on-one makes it a lot easier because you clear everything. It's the same kind of principle if you follow that.
Yeah, and Don actually believes the NBA is going back to being a smaller league as Bowl hassles Strickland. And the Knicks' Sidney Green is staying with it inside, or Eddie Lee Wilkins actually. Or was it Green? We're going to have a jump ball here. Either Green or Wilkins was battling Manute.
Well, you can see what happens on the block shot. The ball gets stuck between the backboard and the rim.
And just pinned there. They'll come to mid-court. That's the rule in that situation. And it was Sidney Green,
yes.
So he has to jump against Manute.
I mean, that's a funny situation.
I'll take my odds with Manute here, Jim. Let's see where Bernhard throws the ball. He got it up nicely. Good throw. And Manute tipped it cleanly, but the wrong guy. Newman snuck in there. And then he bounces the ball. It's a 2-0. Strickland's got very quick hands and feet. Nice play. Bad pass by Teagle. And Newman and Strickland. And Manute takes it away. Warriors leading 45-36. And Higgins can't get it down, and Green bobbles the rebound out.
Yeah, the Warriors are going to have possession, but Rod really didn't have to make it that tough. He put a little too much English on the ball. Nice pass here by Richmond. Actually, from Higgins to Richmond, then back to Higgins. He tried to get the shot off and protect the ball. He had a simple little layup if they got a little quicker.
These two teams were playing so well in the first quarter offensively, Jim. It's getting a little raggy here in the second quarter. Is Strickland out of DePaul, and there's Sidney Green, who is not known to be an outside shooter. He is a rebounder, Sidney Green. He also a very high pick, like Kenny Walker.
Yeah, of course, he comes out of
overall.
UNLV, that Jerry Tarkanian group up there.
One of their greatest players ever. Second in points to Theus, and first in rebounds. There's Terry Teagle, and the Warriors give her up 9. With 7:11 to play in the first half. Playing Garland. Richmond has not come off the floor yet. Teagle, Higgins, and Bull. And Sidney Green over Manute. And Higgins slaps the board twice. That's amazing. He has made 2 incredible saves over the sideline, and then the baseline is the rebound jumps over Mitch to Green. Strickland over Bull. Bull is just taking them out of their offense. They're better off shooting the threes with him in there. Teagle, he's going to be put on the free throw line.
Pretty good play. Didn't put the ball back down on the floor. He knew he had the angle to the hoop. He got the bump.
So Teagle will shoot 2 when we come back as Don Nelson stops play. 6:43 to go, first half. The Warriors have it going again tonight, up 9. All right, as always, when you come to the Coliseum, grab yourself a Miller Lite All-Star ballot and vote. But it does not appear that any of the Warriors are going to make it. Chris Mullin will probably make the team as a reserve, but the Warriors will not have any of the top 5, as the Western Conference pretty much is being decided early on. Akeem Olajuwon will be the center, it appears. Karl Malone and Alex English, the 2 forwards. Magic Johnson and Clyde Drexler, or possibly Dale Ellis, will be the big guard. Over in the Eastern Conference, Moses will be at center. Dominique and Barkley, again, it's still the voting is going on, but this is the way it is shaping up. A good matchup in the backcourt, though. Michael Jordan is running away with the guard title, but Isaiah Thomas and Mark Price are now battling, and Mark Price actually has passed Isaiah Thomas. The Warriors will be represented in the All-Star game, though. Otis Smith will be dunking again, and Jack McMahon is going to be coaching the West, or pardon me, the East Old-Timers against the West Old-Timers, as the 2 free throws were made there by Teagle, and he has 10. It is 49-38. Of course, Jack in the Eastern Conference for years. Strickland feeds, and Eddie Lee Wilkins goes inside. The Warriors have a 9-point lead. We have 6 to play in the next quarter. The full court pressure that Rick Pitino learned from Hubie Brown in part. He was an assistant with Hubie 2 years, and he has kept it up with the Knicks. Higgins up over Wilkins. It'll be on the line for 2 as Wilkins knocks Rod down. Man, is Eddie Lee Wilkins strong. Ewing is coming into the ball game back in, and Wilkins goes out. That's the Knicks' 5th team foul, Jim. The Warriors only have 2. So with half this quarter to play, the Warriors have an advantage there.
I tell you, a great pass in traffic by Richmond to thread the needle to Higgins, and Higgins a couple of pump fakes. Wanted to get it to Manute Bol. He thought about it for a moment. He thought better with the 3-second lane in there to just get it off and get the contact.
Larry Smith comes back in, and Manute Bol goes off the floor.
How long has Larry Smith been out? He's been out quite a while.
Probably a good chunk of this quarter. I don't believe the entire quarter. He may have started the first moment. Of course, he played as a starter the good chunk of the first quarter.
And like you said earlier in the game, he has really been a factor.
Oh, I think he's been fabulous.
Unbelievable. He could never play any better.
Tonight he has Ewing. Friday, no big deal. Akeem Olajuwon. The Warriors probably will see the 2 best centers in basketball in consecutive home games here. The Rockets will be in at 7:30 on Friday. Come down. Get your seats at Bass. Warriors up 11. Here's Gerald Wilkins. And he takes a strong move to his right, then sticks that jumper. Rick Pitino says Gerald Wilkins went from being an I guy to a we guy. Now a team player, although he still takes his shots. Here's Garland circling.
Okay, that's a tough press that New York puts up there, full court.
And Teagle misses. And the key about the press is, you'll break the press more times than not, but when you get on the forecourt, then the shot clock is down. You only have about 15 to shoot. You're out of rhythm as Larry takes it away, and Sidney Green is playing a lot of minutes here. Here's Teagle scoring over Patrick Ewing. Teagle has really been resurrected here. He has 12 points, 8 in the quarter.
And set up again by Richmond. A no-look pass.
Great.
He read that play all the way.
Here's Ewing going to take Larry, and Larry's right with him. And the Warriors have the numbers game. And Teagle, changing hands. Probably should have dropped it out. He thought he could finish over Patrick.
I thought he was going to pull up and shoot the jump shot.
Now here's the jumper. That's offline. And Wilkins rips down the board to Strickland. He was the 18th overall pick in round 1. As Wilkins misses, and Garland hustles but can't save the rebound. A lot of changes coming up. Chris Mullin back in for the Warriors. Teagle goes out. Trent Tucker and Mark Jackson in for the Knicks. They take out Strickland and Wilkins. So a whole new Knicks backcourt for Rick Pitino.
One thing Chris Mullin is going to do with 4 minutes and 33 seconds left, try not to pick up the 4th foul. Try to play effective basketball and yet not do something foolish.
Don likes to roll the dice on that. Ewing is thinking about it. Now he goes down to the block. He wants the ball back.
Yeah, they're holding him down there. Larry Smith is.
And Newman chucks up a 3. And Higgins is being held by Sidney Green. Green is playing a lot, as I mentioned before, because Charles Oakley is on the bench with 3. Getting a difference in the coaching philosophies, Jim. They won't bring Oakley back in, but Don does bring Mullin back in with 4.5 to play and 3 fouls.
Well, you're seeing a definite trend late in the second quarter in that the Knicks are not crashing the offensive boards like they were, because the Warriors have really effectively gotten the transition game going, gotten some easy baskets, opportunity shots, and they have run the break well at times today.
The Warriors are playing such an incredible brand of basketball, and not just during the 5-game winning streak, but more specifically the last couple of home games here when they blew out Seattle 146-117 Monday, then against Utah, 26-point win there. So unselfish. I mean, they're giving it up. They're playing that quick tempo ball game, as you mentioned.
It's called fun.
It really is. When you win and win by those kind of numbers, score those kind of points, it's fun. Mullin couldn't quite take it away. Larry bats the rebound, and Ewing, oh man.
Well, you knew where that was going.
When he cocks that elbow up, you know it's down. Ewing's dunk gives him 11. That's his first bucket of the second quarter. And the Warriors are probably going to have a light practice tomorrow after all of this. The Knicks make you work. Green the board to Jackson, throws it quickly, and Larry backs it away on the intended pass from Ewing. Bad play by Mark Jackson.
That's a shot you'd like to go down.
Johnny Newman, and they call a foul on Higgins reaching and put Newman on the free throw line. With 3:36 to play, Terry Teagle will come back into the game in a moment. And Newman, have to watch Newman. He's been struggling miserably in the ballgame, but he now has 4 points.
Hey, he's capable. I mean, here's a guy that's really picked up his level of play right there. He is an excellent player to go to the basket just like that, show the ball a little bit, has good body control. He's not a guy that's going to stop and give you that mid-range shot. But when he has a little space, he can deal it.
He was 1 for his first 10 before making that driving layup. And again, he's scoring 16.6 a ball game. They're talking about acquiring Kiki Vandeweghe in New York, but Newman's played so well they may not need him. Oh, Richmond, that's a charge. He just completely took Ewing down. There was some matchup because Mitch looked like a long jumper leaving the pits here. Let's see this.
I mean, Ewing had been there for several seconds. An obvious call. I think Richmond's just trying to make a statement. Even if he did not get the basket, he wanted it to go down just to say, hey, Patrick, I know this is your turf, but I like to visit once in a while.
The crowd liked, you'd have to admire Ewing. He didn't even flinch. And then he sticks the baseline shot.
You know, the Knicks have made a run here in the last minute and a half. Cut that Warrior lead. 3 minutes to go.
Here comes the three-quarter court trap. They run Tucker. And Richmond goes in. Nice look to Mullen. That's a sensational pass by Mitch Richmond.
He got Ewing to move to him, and he just threw it out to the outlet man, Chris Mullen.
Jackson on field gets fouled and just throws it up.
Timeout, New York.
And the foul going to be on Winston Garland. Rick Pitino stops play with a New York Knickerbocker timeout. 2:53 to play in the first half. The Warriors lead the Knicks 57-49. Jim, I said at the outset the Knicks take a lot of threes, and you have to be honest with them defending them because they'll make their share. But tonight they're shooting a hideous percentage, about 13%. I mean, 2 for 16 is not going to cut it.
Yeah, I alluded to that earlier. I thought it was taking them out of their offensive game. They were thinking about the three-point shot too much. There was nothing in between. You've got to get some medium-range jump shots.
Earlier in the year, they made 11 in one ball game, which is a new NBA record. They tried 19 that night. Mark Jackson. Boys, he captured New York City. Grew up in Queens, 197th Street. Hasn't even moved out of the house he grew up in. Sleeps in the same bed, shares a room with his kid brother. Fame hasn't changed him much. Huh?
I don't think next year, though. He's going up for that contract.
Oh, man, they're talking about that. He makes now $275,000. Rod Strickland makes $300,000. I'd like to back up to make more than you. And they have to get him signed as Jackson gets offered to travel. And it's now a 6-point game at 57-51.
Yeah, that's one of the liabilities of Steve Alford. He's not good and not very adept at handling the ball with pressure. You just got to get rid of the ball before the pressure comes. Get it in the hands of Garland. He needs help.
When he gets pressured like that, the other Warriors have to recognize that. They're trying to post up Jackson to exploit him. Ewing can't be thinking about a three, can he? They have 4 guys that generally take him as Teagle knocks him out. To give you an idea how many threes they attempt coming into the ball game, the Warriors attempted 164. The Knicks have 3 guys over 100, and Gerald Wilkins has tried 85, so they all can gun. Ewing trying to bring his team. That's a sensational move as he finger rolls it. And right now the Knicks are slowing the tempo down, Jim, starting to exploit the matchups inside. And you know, for the life of me, I can't understand why Utah didn't do it more, why Seattle didn't do it more. Why do you want to run with the Warriors when you can just slow it down and take advantage of this man inside?
Well, of course, you can't do it with Utah with Karl Malone. He doesn't have the mobility that Patrick Ewing. Now, you saw a great move right there. Yeah, it looked kind of simple for a guy, but to put the ball on the floor with his size, he also didn't. He took a couple of steps with the ball down on the floor, like a guard would do. I know that kind of a move. And then he just took it right to the hoop, and he's there. His wingspan is so far.
Don's going to have to bring in Manute Bol here to defend Ewing. Ewing has 16 points, and Richmond is just, he doesn't care who's inside.
That is a great shot. He knew he was going to be contested by Patrick Ewing. He knew what to do with it. Watch how long he holds on to the ball to keep the contact coming. Bring it back. I mean, he cocked that from midway down his back. I mean, a terrific play. And he knew that Ewing was there.
He has 19 points in the first half, and Ewing is forced off the floor on that foul. That's Ewing's first foul of the ball game, but he is forced, his second foul of the ball game, but he is forced off by Pitino.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have him pick up his third with 2 minutes to go.
Mitch Richmond, with that free throw, now has 20. The Warriors have a 6-point lead. You know, he's not going to make the All-Star team this year, Jim, but really, if he was a veteran, you'd have to consider it. Sidney Green sticks the outside jumper over Teagle.
Oh, you're talking about Richmond?
Yeah, I mean, he has a 20-point scoring average. The way he plays defense, the way he rebounds, the way he passes.
Yeah, it's tough, but you could be surprised, too. I mean, he is playing all-star basketball. The game
I doubt he would make it because the guards are going to be tough. I mean, you have people like Ellis and Drexler and Magic and John Stockton. And
I understand that.
I mean, some good people probably won't make it. And I think for him, it's his rookie year. But as Don said, he'll be making it next year and every year after that as the Warriors call his 22nd timeout to avoid a turnover.
Yeah, they couldn't get the ball inbounds.
Each coach allowed a 20, and Don takes it here with 1:59 to play. And the Warriors leading 60-56. So as we thought coming into the ball game, it's a very up-tempo game. The Knicks will score and score. They really run. They shoot the threes, and the Warriors of late have been able, with the small group, to get a lot of points on the board.
Well, both teams, though, have done it a little differently than the first quarter. They're doing it in the half-court set. You don't see New York running nearly as much in the second quarter as they tried to do at the outset.
They're trying to force it inside, take advantage of the mismatches. But now with the new to the ball game, we'll see how they attack with the final 2 minutes here. They go full court. Sidney Green is pressuring Richmond.
See, Richmond doesn't have the luxury of running along the baseline because the Knicks didn't score on that last sequence.
You got to get into the middle. That's the key to breaking the press. Ronnie Dunn calls a foul to the backcourt. It's on Sidney Green. And Rod Higgins will shoot 2 free throws. When the Warriors throw the inbound to the sideline there, Jim, they're getting themselves in a bit of trouble. You have to get the ball to the middle of the floor to avoid the sidelines when they throw the double team at you.
Believe me, they were very happy just to get the ball in right there because Richmond was stuck on the baseline. Now Higgins does a nice little what we call a jump pass. And unfortunately for the Knicks, Higgins had already gotten rid of the ball. The play had already commenced, and then they put him down on the line with a bump.
Higgins has 2 free throws, and as he misses the first one, Greg Butler is coming into the ball game. A rookie from Stanford, who has not played a whole lot, but he is very popular in New York City. He's the people's choice. He's the 12th man they bring him, and the Knicks are in a rout, so he is loved.
I'll tell you one thing, he's got a great jump shot from the 15, 18-foot range. For his size, he is really an outside shooter. He does not have the low inside game.
Last year with the Cardinals, he shot 57% from the floor. A round 2 draft pick, number 37. You got to be surprised, though, that he's playing in the NBA, aren't you?
I was very surprised that he made this club.
But the Knicks do have backup problems at center. Tucker's 3. Eddie Lee Wilkins he's traveling inside is what he's doing. I was wondering if they're going to call it because he was just tap dancing as Manute made him do that. 1:42 to play. They go full court again. Butler with a factor there, takes it away, and he's a little confused, drops it back to Gerald Wilkins, and he's not confused. You put it in his hands, he knows what to do with it immediately. He sticks it, he has 8 points. The Knicks again creating havoc, and the Warriors break. And Garland going to pull up, but Wilkins from behind was waiting on him. And the Warrior lead is down to 3 here as the Knicks make a late second quarter run. Warriors appear a little bit tired here, the group right now. A little tired of breaking this press, Jim.
That's the key right there. I mean, the pressure from New York has been incredible.
And Garland is going to be on the free throw line of the reach-in foul by Trent Tucker.
And the problem is you don't have a lot of guys handling the basketball in the backcourt. It's wearing Winston Garland down. Nonetheless, he's going to go to the line as he makes the move to the basket.
You know, when Rick Pitino started last year, everybody said this guy's crazy if he thinks he can get professional athletes making this kind of money to press for 82 nights a year. They're going to do it for about 40 and say, get lost. We just can't do it. But he did it last year all the way to the playoffs. They had a great series against the Celtics. And this year, after 36, they're the second best team in basketball.
And that's why you see so many people play on the roster, though.
Oh, he's got to use them.
He has to use them.
You need the bodies.
And, you know, of course, winning gives you a little impetus. They're 25-11. All of a sudden they start believing. That changes your attitude.
And also winning at home. I mean, the Garden is so lively.
What are they, 17-1?
17-1. They have a 14-game home win streak. Three-pointer. They're just going wild with the threes, and Tucker sticks that three-pointer. He's a great three-point shooter. And the Warrior lead is down to 2, and Garland almost travels before he makes the pass. He gets it away, though. Warriors spread the offense here. They just want to get in that locker room with a lead of some kind. They're going to have a foul here on Greg Butler. And Mitch will shoot 2.
Well, here again, now see the matchups. There's no way that a Greg Butler can stay with Richmond. Now, Richmond brought Butler away from the basket. There we talk about the big small again. You got the quickness, you just utilize it.
Mitch Richmond is having another fabulous ball game. 21 points, and now he has 22. This is his best half of the year. His career high is 34. And Wilkins spots up behind that line. They all know where the line is, don't they, in New York? He spins out of it nicely as the three-point threat on the outside sprung him inside. Let's see what Butler does. Manute shoves that away. There was nobody 7-7 in the Pac-10, huh?
They're going to call a foul on Manute.
Oh, man.
A good block, but they're going to talk about the hip down low on Butler.
That's 3 on Manute, as you can see. Mullen already has 3.
And pretty smart play by Butler, the rookie, because he got the pump fake. Then you see the contact down low. And Manute,
he left his feet.
Left his feet.
If he doesn't need to leave his feet. We talk about that. Of course, the natural reaction of anybody is to lunge and try and block a shot, but Manute does not need to leave his feet to get one. Now Mullen with 3 takes out Manute with 3. As Butler shooting his free throws, 80% coming into the ball game. He made 12 of 15. He has played in 23 of the Knicks' first 36. Scores a point and a half a night and plays about 4 minutes a night. He turned down some offers as the Knicks bring Johnny Newman back into the ball game. Turned down some offers to make some big money, about $250,000 to play over in Europe. But of course, the lure of playing in the NBA with the Knicks. Look at Jackson take it away, and the Warrior lead is getting slim. It's now a point as Gerald Wilkins scores inside. And this full court pressure has really been the story. I think Don's going to have it on the chalkboard at halftime. Garland leans in, and with 21 to play, he will shoot 2. Now, the Warriors were handling this press for a good segment of the ball game very well, Jim. These guys late in the second quarter just are not handling it.
They're not doing very well at all, and much to the credit of the Knicks, though. They are really applying the pressure effectively, and what happens is you beat it a few times. You get tired. Now you're not getting the help from the guy near the half court. He's not coming back. He's running away from you and not doing the job necessary to beat a double-team pressure. It's not the guy, as you mentioned earlier, it's not always the guy that has the ball in his hands.
No, it has to be a complete team effort to break the press. Larry Smith is in the ball game. And Richmond, I believe this is Mitch's first time on the bench tonight, isn't it? He's played the whole game. I don't remember him going out.
He went out once before.
All right.
Not that it matters.
Well, it does to him. He needs a little rest. Garland makes them both, and the Warriors have a 3-point lead. But with the Knicks, that can quickly become 0 the way they fire them up. And he played only 10 of the 12 of the first quarter. Shot clock is off. 67-64 Warriors. Mark Jackson against Garland off a Butler pick. They switch out. Brent Tucker's in trouble, and he charges. That's very good Warrior defense. They extended it, and the Knicks were going for a Tucker 3, and the Warriors snuffed it out. Larry made a nice play.
Well, the Knicks went to the wide offense, and Larry makes a nice play. He's done that several times tonight, and then it gives Garland the time to come over, anticipate where the offense was going, and he just smelled the play and got the roll.
Garland throws the inbounds here. Look for Higgins if they can find him. They get it to Rod. He spins. And with Wilkins draped all over him, Rod is short on his 35-footer. So a most entertaining first half for the sold-out audience here. The Warriors leave with a 3-point lead. We're going to head back to our Channel 5 studios for a information update. And then Jim and I will come back and try and explain what happened in a very up-tempo opening half. Greg Pop alongside Jim Barnett back at the Coliseum of the Warriors in a very hectic first half. Jim lead the New York Knickerbockers by a score of 67-64. The Warriors had a bigger lead, almost 10 points there in the second quarter. But the Knicks hectic pressure, their full court pressing got to the Warriors, wore them down a bit, and got within 3 as we broke here at halftime.
We promised you an up-tempo game. The ball went back and forth at a rapid pace in the first quarter. And of course, the long-range shooting from the Knicks backfired. The Warriors were simply magnificent. Here you see a play. Ewing was a factor, blocking a few shots. He makes Mullen change the shot right here. An acrobatic no-look shot with the wrong hand, the right one, and it goes in for Chris Mullen. Here's another. Now, Bol came into the game midway through the first quarter. He makes Jackson give up the ball. He blocks the Eddie Wilkins shot, and Jackson rushes the ensuing rebound, it goes into Manute Bol. The Warriors start going the other way.
And Manute was healthy in the first half, Jim, which certainly was a factor for the Warriors.
Oh, yeah, he made his presence felt out there. Now the hands of Rod Higgins, Terry Teagle inside. Comes up into Smith. Now here's a great play by Richmond. He sees what's going to transpire. He gives it right back to Teagle. A great left-hand slide-by shot, but a great pass by Richmond, who was magnificent in the entire first half.
Yeah, Mitch had 22 points. Here, Eddie Lee Wilkins.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen.
Smith bats it out. The big man, Ewing, will coil it up. And he had 16 points, not in the first quarter, 7 more in the second quarter. Again, Richmond led the Warriors with 22, and Terry Teagle had 12. And Mitch Richmond really was just a fabulous player in this opening half.
And here you're seeing the effects of the press. It really wore the Warriors down in the second quarter. Jackson steals the ball. He gets it right back to Gerald Wilkins. He just takes it home for a simple little layup. They converted several baskets off of defensive pressure. It did hurt the Warriors.
Warriors 16 turnovers in that first half, Jim, which is quite a few, leading to 15 Knicks points.
Yeah, they've been hitting a high percentage of their shots. And right here, I think, was the toughest shot of the basketball game. Richmond knew he was coming to pressure with Patrick Ewing. Nonetheless, he held on to the basketball, got the contact, took it down to his back, and got the ball to go home and had a three-point play as a result from the free throw.
Again, with mostly a small lineup. Manute had his minutes, but mainly a small lineup. The Warriors able to hold even in rebounding at 28 apiece, and Larry Smith led the Warriors with 7 rebounds. And speaking of 7, Jim, first 7,000 fans through the gates tonight got this, the Larry Smith hard hat. It's not quite hard, it's kind of spongy, but the people over at Channel 5 passed that out to get Larry pumped up. Is it my size? Where's my jackhammer? And I'm ready to roll. Won't even fit here. All right, we'll come back with a little more. We'll have some stats for you on the first half as I'm balancing this thing and keeping it on my head. And my head's kind of pointy. It's amazing I could do that. Warriors lead by 3. Well, I mentioned and showed you the Larry Smith hard hats they're passing out. Compliments of Channel 5, the first 7,000 fans. And those folks down there are the original members of the Larry Smith fan club. The guys that used to sing to Tequila up in the rafters here at the Coliseum. They even have a jackhammer down there for Larry. The group kind of went different directions for a couple of years off to college and what, but with Larry doing this job during the homestand, the Warriors, I think, very properly brought them back. And Larry's doing a great job inside, despite the fact he has 2 of the tougher people, front court people, to battle in the NBA, in Ewing and Oakley.
And you talk about great inside play. How about these stats?
And Ewing had 7 of 11 in the first half, but he only had 3 rebounds and a couple of blocks. Charles Oakley, who was not known for his offense, did have 10 on 4 of 4. A lot of them offensive rebounds. Wilkins had 10 on 5 of 11. Mark Jackson, a 7-point first half. He was only 1 for 6, and he had 4 assists. And Tucker on 6 points on both 3-point goals. He was 2 for 7 on his 3-point tries. And Newman, Green, and Strickland also helped out for the Knicks. Mitch Richmond with a supreme first half. He played 21 minutes, all but 3 in the first half, and scoring is 22. Garland, Teagle, Mullen in double figures. Higgins, Alford, and Bol off the bench.
You can see it's guard scoring, of course, for the Golden State, and the big man up front for New York.
Now, the field goal shooting is certainly a little bit deceiving because the Knicks were 3 for 17 from the floor on 3-point attempts. The Warriors shot well, and the rebounds even. Turnovers, a problem. 16 is too many, as the Knicks do force a lot with their frenzied attack. We'll come back. Third quarter should be fun. Warriors lead by 3. Well, later on tonight's broadcast, well, at the beginning of the fourth quarter to be more exact, we're going to play the Miller Lite fourth quarter shootout. And you can be a part of that by sending a postcard over to the Warriors at the Coliseum Arena. Tell us which Warrior player you feel will score the first points of the fourth quarter in any of our TV ball games. Just for having your card pulled, you get a Warriors starter jacket to keep you warm through this nippy Northern California winter. And also, if you pick the right guy that scores the first points of the fourth quarter on TV, you also win a great Sony Watchman, one of those miniature TV sets. Don Nelson may have to use one of those as the Warriors fly on Sunday, Super Sunday, from Sacramento to Cleveland, but they are scheduled to get in time and watch the Super Bowl. Randy Cross is going to play his last ball game at the Super Bowl. He is done. You hear what happened at San Jose State today? 3 members of their basketball team threatened not to play anymore unless Bill Barry, the coach, is fired. Unbelievable. Can you believe that?
No, that is very shocking.
Like the inmates are running the asylum. I thought we learned enough as Jack Elway got bounced. Warriors Larry Smith throws it away to Gerald Wilkins. Wilkins finger rolls the layup in. And the Knicks have it down to 167-66.
They've scored on the turnovers. Their defense has really created their offense tonight.
Well, it's no change than usual. Teagle right baseline. That bad pass by Larry Smith. The Warriors, actually 17th turnover, Jim, is now the Teagle goes a couple of rows in, and the Warriors keep the ball. And they have forced turnover. The Warriors have made their share of sloppy turnovers, but the Knicks have certainly forced it with their tempo. Mark Jackson, now Teagle tries to take it back, but he can't. Now he does. Warriors have the ball, playing Garland, Richmond, Mullen, Teagle, and Larry Smith. So take your pick, Mullen or Terry playing power forward. And it's Teagle on Oakley.
Yeah, both teams have their starting lineups they begin the game with.
Next to Jackson, Wilkins, Newman, Oakley, and Ewing as the Warriors again get sloppy and just step out of bounds.
Now they got 1 shot and 2 turnovers here in the first 1 minute of the third quarter.
The Knicks are now 3 of 18 on threes. Jackson saves over his head, but he stepped out of bounds. We are 1:09 into the fourth quarter. There's Mark Jackson again, Jim.
Well, he tries a three-pointer. The rebound comes out long. Now, one person right here has to read and say, hold it, I got it. No, you got it. Whoops, they both go out.
Neither one of them would have got that. I think Jackson gave a nice effort, but it was in vain, certainly. And now the Warriors call a wise 22nd time. I'd have to be impressed with Don Nelson doing that, trying to get things straightened away. And you have to be impressed with the Bay Area, the way they have supported the Warriors this year. The Warriors are going to shatter by far their all-time attendance figure they set the year after winning the championship in 75-76. They came into the ballgame averaging 13,652. And of course their goal is every night to sell out the Coliseum. 15,025 this place holds. Tonight they're selling out for the 7th time in the 18th home game. There's going to be a time, a very soon time, Jim, maybe as early as next year. This Coliseum is sold out every night, and the only way to get in is going to be season tickets.
How's New York doing on attendance?
They're drawing 17,446, 30% up from last year. As Garland scores, the NBA's up. The NBA's up almost 10% up every year, well, since '82 NBA.
Part of that reason is a little distorted. You know, we got the new franchises. Right. Charlotte's averaging over 22,000. That helps, but they are still up.
There's Jackson spinning over to Oakley, and he scores.
Yeah, people wanted to travel.
Here's Mullen breaking the press with a nice cross-court pass to Richmond, and he finger rolls. And the Warriors, who have been on the edge of losing the lead, really haven't. It is 71-68. We've played 1:50 of the fourth quarter. The Knicks at 25-11. They've won 5 straight, 15 of 20, and 25 of 34. They lost their first 2 games of the year at Jersey and at Boston. Wilkins to Oakley, and up top a foul is called by Ted Bernhardt, the first-year official. I believe it's on Larry Smith.
Well, what happened is Richmond got to watching the ball, enabling Gerald Wilkins to cut inside. Now, Wilkins came up with the ball. This would have been a tough shot. He does get bailed out by Richmond, but a lot of times you turn your head, see where the ball is, you lose sight of your defensive man, and you cannot do that in the NBA.
I believed wrong. The foul is on Richmond, not Larry. Mitch has 3. Mullen already has 3, and Bull on the bench has 3. Gerald Wilkins, 80% free thrower. He's been struggling of late. 18 points last game out. Their home win against San Antonio. That was the best ball game he has had scoring since the 3rd of January. Wilkins has 13 points. 8 came in that second quarter. And Teagle, the rebound, his body sprawl. Larry Smith and Oakley. That's a great matchup. It was Larry Smith against Michael Cage the other night. Now it's Larry Smith and Oakley. And Cage and Oakley battled right down to the final day for the rebound title last year, which Cage won. Rebound of the Knicks. Knicks can tie the game. Or if they try a 3, they can take the lead. Oakley, well, he can take the lead at the free throw line here.
Yeah, he just did that on strength. He moved Larry out of the way, got the contact. The offensive player gets the call. And believe me, the Knicks are exploiting the inside inefficiency of the Warriors here in the third quarter. Every basket is coming within a 2-foot range.
Oakley has 14 points. That's his scoring average. Actually bettered. He averages 12.3. Out of Virginia Union, a very tiny Division II school.
And now the Warriors have lost the lead by 1 point.
And Mullen breaks to Teagle. Garland on a switch will go against Gerald Wilkins up over Ewing. He draws the foul, and Jess Kersey says he's in the act, so Winston will shoot 2 on Gerald Wilkins. Foul. Wilkins against Garland on the switch there as Mark Jackson was guarding Richmond.
Yeah, and you're seeing basically one-on-one play at half-court offense because the Knicks are really taking the Warriors out with that full-court press.
Yeah, certainly since, I would say, the 4-minute mark, Jim, of the second quarter, this game is gone, if you're Don Nelson, disturbingly the wrong way. The Knicks are playing their style.
And the Warriors are hanging tough, or have been hanging tough, because they hit a good percentage of their shots. But if the shots don't go, all of a sudden you get down, then you're going to start struggling, and you let that thing slip away from you. And the Knicks, of course, have been shooting horrendously, but they're getting shorter shots now. They're not taking the outside shot as they make me a liar.
And they make one there. They are now 4 of 19 on their 3-point goals. And again, as I said at halftime, I mean, you shoot 3 of 17 in the first half on 3, you're going to have a very bad shooting percentage. So their inside percentage is not bad. They're just trying so many threes. That last 3 gives them a 2-point lead from Newman. Teagle beats Oakley and scores over Ewing off the glass. Teagle's playing a very solid game at his second straight start. He has 14 points. We have him 6 of 13 from the floor. And we're tied again at 75.
Good help by Larry right there on the switch.
There's a switch and nobody's on Ewing. But if he takes an 18-footer, that's all right, but he made it.
Yeah, Don clapped on that. That's good defense. You got to play your percentages.
There's Garland.
Tough shot. He likes that shot. He really shoots well going to the left.
Yes, he does.
You know, about 18 feet out.
And he takes it off 1 foot. They're going to call a double dribble. Jess Kersey calls a double dribble on Mark Jackson. The Warriors here at home have won 12 and lost 5. They won their last 4 home games, 10 of the last 12 here. Richmond has run out of the double team. Nice cross-court pass. For Chris Mullins' jumper, the Knicks bolt out. Wilkins is back 1 on 3. Looks for help. Finds help. Oh, man, did he get very fortunate that Johnny Newman was busting out. He left hoping somebody was there, Jim, and Newman was.
That's exactly what happened, and the Warriors did not steal off the lane. You just want to, you know it's going to go back down the middle. You just want to get somebody standing in there, hopefully, to break it.
Johnny Newman made an incredible play. I don't think he fouled Larry. Don does. But he got it. And Jackson goes up the gut. And the Warriors need desperately a timeout. As the Knicks are showing everybody in Oakland why they're 25 and 11 and have the second best record in the league. And now we have a player down at midcourt. Who is that? Looks like possibly Gerald Wilkins at the Knicks lying at midcourt. 7:29 to play in the third quarter. That was not Gerald Wilkins. It was Johnny Newman who went down. And as he rose from the floor, it looked very alarmingly for the Knicks that he'd be out. But he's moving a lot better, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was going to have to be put back in the training room, laying there for 30 seconds.
Well, the Warriors don't inbound the ball in 5 seconds and turn the ball over. And Don Nelson's upset because the Knicks pressure is rattling his basketball team. In the second half, the Warriors have 3 turnovers after 16 in the first half. Mullen reaches in, knocks it from Oakley. The Warriors try and tie the game. Here's Teagle. That went long. You can see when he released it. Oakley rips it down to Mark Jackson. 2 on 2. He finds Ewing. Or Ewing found him, really. Tucker's in for Johnny Newman. Larry helps. Nice defense, and Teagle has the ball thrown to him. Richmond. Cross court. It's behind Garland. This is a crazy game. Helter-skelter. Mullen. Richmond. Everybody. Oakley. To Mark Jackson. Tucker for a 3. And Garland. Those long rebounds off the 3s. The Warriors trying to run on. Garland finds a crack. And it rolls in for him. Very tough shot. He likes them. The tougher, the better. And Rick Pitino stops play with his own 20-second timeout. This ball game is very hard to figure, Jim. The Knicks will get you into the style ball game. A couple of years ago, Hubie Brown to get you into a sloppy game. Rick Pitino just gets you into a very hectic full court game.
Well, I really think that the Warriors are better off if they're in a hectic full court up-tempo game, because when they slow it down, the press is just killing them.
Well, we're going to have a bit of fun here also with some hectic dashing all over the floor coming up on Friday when K-Fog Radio and Western Appliance sponsors their annual Dash for Cash. 3 lucky contestants will have a chance to gather up $5,000 in cash spread on the arena floor. How long do they have? I imagine it's not long, maybe 24 seconds or a minute or so. For tickets for that ball game, call 415-762-BASS. Some left for the Rockets here. Purvis Short is healthy. Sleepy Floyd playing well, and Akeem Olajuwon, who is a dominant force in the NBA, maybe the most dominant. Here's Sidney Green scoring, as he is now into the ball game for Charles Oakley, as Rick Pitino really shuffles his people. But again, you have to, the way he expects them to play, full board. Richmond ties it, and now will be on the line trying to break it. I'm talking about the score at 83. That's a big play. The Warriors like the left side of the glass here.
Well, this is what Richmond did so effectively in the first half. He just takes his man one-on-one. Terrific shot to get it over the outstretched arms of Ewing. He was fouled by Mark Jackson. That little hesitation and go. And he's so strong. He can finish a move because of his strength.
Bit of irony there. Richmond beating Mark Jackson, the Rookie of the Year last year, and then at last beating Patrick Ewing, the Rookie of the Year, 85-86. And Mitch Richmond, barring something unforeseen, will be the Rookie of the Year for 88-89.
And he was recently named the Rookie of the Month in the NBA.
He's pulling away from the pack. Willie Anderson is having some nights where he plays like a rookie. Mitch just never lies. He never lies down and just gives you a bad game of late, Jim. I mean, he's consistently at 20 or better, and some nights even better, 30.
I wasn't going to say it till later on, but this is the biggest game because this is against the Knicks. They're both on 5-game winning streaks, and great players come to the full in big games. He's done it tonight.
He's got 27, his career high 34. Here's Rod Strickland, also a good-looking rookie. He misses, and Sidney Green can't get the rebound. Green, the former Bull and Piston. And the Knicks, to get him away from Detroit, gave him the bank. They gave him a lot of money.
This is where it's tough because you cannot run the baseline. The basket wasn't made. You have to stand still.
Very good point. Here's Richmond up the floor. And we have a foul out of the floor. And Johnny Newman is back into the ballgame. And that's good to see. It's not good to see for Johnny picking up the foul, but it's good to see that he didn't have any knee or ankle problems.
Yeah, he was slowed up a little bit, and he's slowed up right here by Mitch Richmond as Richmond turns the corner.
He's got to play better defense than that. He didn't move his feet at all. He just gave up and reached. Mullen a 3. Bull is in the game. He tips it, but Johnny Newman pulls. The next play, Rod Strickland, a point guard, with Newman, Tucker, Green, and Ewing. Ewing over Bull. And it's back to Ewing. In heavy traffic, there's 4 Warriors in the lane. And Bull blocks Newman. They call a charge on Johnny Newman.
Deservedly so, because he traveled before he took the shot. Manute Bol, you talked about his presence. He made Ewing give the ball up. There's a block. You can see, I'll tell you, it's very dangerous for Manute Bol. He got hurt on a similar play. That could have spelled trouble for the knee, but he came out of it.
Bol played 9 minutes in the first half, had a couple of blocks. Here's Richmond to Higgins. Warriors just now shooting well here in the third quarter. Rod Strickland. And he finds Tucker. You know where he is. Behind that line to the baseline. Richmond doing it all. Throws a bit high to Mullen. He goes in anyway. And Tucker the board. I'm getting tired just watching this, Jim. This pace, I mean, is incredible.
The fans,
they're everywhere.
Yeah, the fans are really enjoying it. I mean, they're on the edge of their seat because this is a game that is so much fun to play and to watch.
Green bobbles. Garland, and Strickland is forced to foul him on the floor. He got him on the side. It's not a breakaway.
Yeah.
I mean, in the spirit of the rule, we all know what Strickland was doing. He was hugging him and preventing him from beating him, which he was going to do, but he got him enough on the side of the body.
Once again, the hands of Mullen just reaching in. Now watch a great move by Garland. You know, Strickland thought he was going to pass the ball over to Mullen. and he just hesitated and nailed him to the floor just for a brief moment, and Garland had a clear path to the basket, and that's why Strickland grabbed him.
That's Strickland's third foul of the game. The Knicks' fourth of the quarter. We have 4:10 to play in the third. The Warriors have 2 team fouls, and they have a 3-point lead now. 86-83. Mullen has 14 points. Quiet night for him, but Richmond has picked it up with 27. The Warriors right now are playing Garland with Higgins now to the ball game. Mullen, Larry Smith, and Bowl. Richmond goes out. Newman has it tipped out of his arms, and Garland beats Strickland to the ball. And it's a foul on Strickland. That's his 4th foul. And he, they really love him in New York, Jim, but he appears a little bit in a fog tonight. It's late getting over to that basketball.
Let's give credit to Winston Garland. I mean, that kid is a tough basketball player in his own right.
Winston wanted it more, and as Strickland picks up number 4, Patino calls a Knickerbocker timeout. And the Coliseum once again comes alive. 3:45 to play, third quarter. The Warriors 86, the Knicks 83. Hang with us here on 5 following Warriors basketball. 10 o'clock, Wise Guy. 11 o'clock, Eyewitness News nightcast. Wayne Walker and Joan Fonzie both in Miami. Can you believe what's happening in Miami? What a black eye for that city. Barney Miller, 11:30. Then a great show. If you haven't seen Pat Sajak yet, check him out tonight at midnight. He is very talented. I watch it every night. 1:30, Night Heat.
I've watched him a lot, but I never saw him. I always saw Vanna.
You're looking at the wrong show. You're looking at The Wheel. Pat Sajak really has surprised me how good he is.
Yeah, he's very relaxed, and
he's funny. Very witty.
He's very witty.
And Johnny's in a bit of trouble.
He likes people. Yeah, I still like
you
Johnny.
like people. I mean, all those things fit for you. You're witty.
Yeah, but I'm not wealthy. Those guys are wealthy.
You're independently wealthy. They're working for their money. Garland makes one of the 2, and then Mark Jackson, the rebound. You've been in the Miami arena this year. Can you believe what's happening in Overshown?
Yeah, they got to cancel the game last night, the NBA game, and of course the Super Bowl there this Sunday.
Tomorrow night's game against the Bulls in trouble. It's the new Bulls. Swats Wilkins shot out, and Mark Jackson one-hands it. Larry tips it. Sidney Green rips it.
Yeah, Chris did not come back and get the defensive rebound, and 2 points result. You've got to all 5 go to the basket on the defensive boards. You cannot rely on Manute Bol to come up with a block and the rebound.
Johnny Newman has 12. Warriors up 2 with 3 to play, third quarter. There's Mullen on the far right side against Newman, and Newman fouls him. Chris will be on the free throw line. That shot does not count. It was late. Mullen was fouled. The crowd here reacts a bit prematurely and mostly with their heart, because Mullen clearly was not in the act when he was fouled here.
Now you can see down low, Newman right there again. He does not move his feet. He moves his hands. The first move by an offensive player results in him reacting with the hands, but not the feet. But it's a penalty situation, so Mullen will have 2 free throws.
We saw briefly a move that Chris has been using a lot lately. When he gets a player up tight on him, he drops his head and just sticks his head into the player's midsection and uses that way to lean off. I've never seen a player do that before, Jim.
I've only seen one, Pete Maravich. He would do that occasionally.
And then he'd have the speed to be able to beat a guy. Chris just kind of gets himself a little bit of room to either take the jumper right there or step by him.
Another way you do that is a guy gets so close on you, you put the ball between his legs and just chase it down. I've seen players do that a bit.
When he has his feet spread in the defensive stance, he's bouncing through his legs.
Now the Warriors here trying to create a little bit of defensive pressure.
Chris's 2 free throws give the Warriors a 4-point lead, and they do. Higgins runs down Larry's outlet, and the Warriors have a 6-point lead. That's a nice bit of defense here, pressing the Knicks.
I think Don Nelson's making a statement. He says, hey, Patino, you're not the only guy that can do this. We're going to come out on our own.
You know the line. Pressing teams don't like to be pressed themselves. Here's Sidney Green. They'll give him that shot all night long. He can't hit a 15-footer, but Tucker rips the board down. The Knicks playing Mark Jackson, Johnny Newman, Trent Tucker, Sidney Green, Eddie Lee Wilkins. Jackson gets in trouble, and they call a foul of the Warriors with Jackson flailing elbows all over the place in the lane. They call a foul on Manute Bol. Let's check this one out again, Jim. I can't believe this call.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, Manute Bol is a very intelligent man. He knows Mark Jackson is going to come into him. Now, Manute goes away, but you see his arms were reaching back. He should have really put him way back. I don't think it was a foul. It could have been a no call because the contact was initiated by Jackson, but he's the one with the ball going to the basket. They give the guy the benefit of the doubt. If Bol had the arms going way back, you've got to overemphasize. You know what I mean?
I mean, if he has his arms way back, he's not even playing defense. I mean, he's got to be able to put his arms up and block the shot.
Well, what I'm saying is hold your ground.
I know what you're saying.
Hold your ground with the body and move your arms back. Now you're really emphasizing the fact that I'm not going to reach in there.
Okay, but if Mark Jackson doesn't foul you and he goes in and scores a layup, Don Nelson's going to kill him. They're not putting his arms
There's
up.
a factor you're forgetting.
What's that?
These officials have never played the game.
Well, never on this level, but you would think that a play like that would be tough. Mark Jackson's having a tough time for the free throw line. A three-pointer is struck by Garland. And the Warriors have now stretched it out to a 9-point lead with a late third-quarter run. They are pressing and shooting threes, just like the guys in blue have been doing all night long. And now Don Nelson really wants to make a statement late third quarter. Jackson tries and beat Bowl. They're going to get a call, another one on Minute, or the help out of Higgins.
Yeah, they're going to give it to Higgins.
Yeah, Rod's raising his hand saying, give it to me, because if it's on Minute, it's 5 on Minute. It's not. Minute stays with 4, and Higgins picks up his second.
Once again, here's the play that Jackson gets a big man in trouble. Out along the baseline, had a little 18-footer. He drew Bowl out, just took it to the basket, and Higgins puts him on the line. But once again, the defensive pressure from the Warriors is creating a little bit of uncertainty in the Knicks offense.
Speaking of uncertainty, we're having a bit here. They're going to call the Warriors' 4th team foul. They're going to say that Mark Jackson was not in the act of shooting, which is completely ridiculous to me. If he wasn't in the act of shooting, what was in the act of doing? That's like saying Mark Jackson is not in the act of playing basketball right now. Here's Newman all the way in the lane, and now, well, it's just a formality because Newman will shoot him.
Yeah, that's going to be a block on Larry Smith.
13, Larry Smith, fourth personal.
Now, Newman, as I said, he's a live player. There's a lot of contact there. I thought Larry had pretty good position, but Larry did turn to get a little more contact, and that's what the officials see. They just see a little inadvertent thing, a very subtle move, and they always give the benefit of the doubt to the shooter.
Mitch Richmond is coming into the ball game for Don Nelson. Larry Smith with 4 fouls goes out, and Johnny Newman has 1 more. Newman in his 3rd year out of Richmond. The Spiders in Mankaty scoring school. Sophomore year 21-1, junior year 21-3, senior year 22. Cleveland took him in round 2 early, played him 1 year and cut him, and the Knicks pounced on him. Inconsistent at times last year, he's become a very solid player this year. Warriors are led by as many as 13 in the first half. Have an 8-point lead here. Minute 20 to play, shot clock's at 12. Minute's thinking about that step away. And he called it. He said, I want it off the back of the rim, off the glass, then in. Unbelievable. Bull has 10. 65 to play. Third quarter. Warriors trying for a 6-game win streak. Higgins runs at Newman and takes away a point. He still makes the shot as Mullen runs at him also. Higgins has, Newman has 15, 10 in the quarter.
Yeah, he's warmed up, Newman has. He felt pretty good there, ran by the Warrior coaches and kind of gave a little Warrior yell.
Mullen with a great play, backing down low against Mark Jackson, his former mate at St. John's. Chris has 8 of 18 in the quarter. Newman can't finish. He likes that wraparound reverse over Bowl, but he hasn't been able to put it down. Nice passing. Richmond's going for a 3. Warriors would have ignited the crowd if he had stuck that. And the Knicks now will have, in essence, the last shot. The shot clock is still working. It's 1 second less than the quarter clock, which you are looking at. The Warrior coaches want their hands up from their players here. 98-88 Warriors. Here's Action Jackson. Tucker spotting up. Don Nelson goes wild. And if you're the Warriors, you have to think they're going 3, and Tucker's the guy. And Jackson got a couple of defenders on him, and then he found Tucker. As Richmond's going to come close on that. You know, as I saw him release it, I said he's going to be close, and I couldn't believe he put it off the rim with that style. That's Manute Bowles' 3-pointer. Man, is he strong to hit the back of the rim from that distance. Look at this style.
It looked good.
It was right on. He had it lined up off the back of the rim. Fourth quarter is coming up, and the fourth quarter shootout. We'll play it in moments. Warriors up 7 after 3. It's good to see these guys back at the Oakland Coliseum Arena. The Larry Smith Hard Hat Fan Club, as Channel 5 passed out 7,000 hard hats for the first $7,000 of the joint tonight. And to the sounds of tequila, the Warriors set to begin the fourth quarter shootout. And the fourth quarter, Steven Nelson is our winner tonight from Gold River, California. Like the sound of that town, Steve, and he chooses Chris Mullen. And it's very simple for playing the fourth quarter shootout. Steve, you already won a Warriors starter jacket, and if Mullen scores the first points for the Warriors here in the fourth quarter, you also win a Sony Watchman. Warriors up 7, 98-91. It is Jackson Tucker from 32 feet off the rim. Well, not 32, probably about 27 feet. Rebound to Higgins, and the Warriors come forecourt Richmond.
Mullen made it a tough shot for him. He flew at him. It was a fling at the basket.
Garland has a block by Tucker. He'll be in the act, and he'll shoot 2 free throws. The Knicks have now tried 23 three-point shots in the ball game, which is a NBA record. The previous best, they set it earlier this year, 21 in a game against Dallas on December the 2nd, and also Boston did it last year, March the 9th of 88 with 21. They have tried 23 three-point shots.
Yeah, they're not finished. They got 11 and a half minutes to go in the game.
How many three-point shots have they made? The record for that is 11. They haven't made quite that many, but
of course,
quite close.
But the Warriors are up by 8, could be up by 9. With this ensuing free throw, you know they're going to try a few more three-pointers if this trend continues as far as the point differential.
Well, we're sorry, Stephen Nelson. Winston Garland on the 2 free throws scores the first 2 points of the fourth quarter, and not Chris Mullen. So it's a Warrior starter jacket for you. Thanks for playing the Miller Lite fourth quarter shootout. Here's Patrick Ewing, who begins the fourth quarter after a rather quiet third quarter, which he scored just 2 points on 2 shots. He now has 20. He averages 21.1 tonight, the 16th top scorer in the NBA. Warriors up 7. Richmond drives, feeds Bull, who was not ready, and Bull has it blocked by Ewing, who was ready. Wilkins will go in, and he will. Oh, Garland made a miss, but a foul going to be called. That's a nice play by Garland, as Gerald Wilkins, who certainly has a lot of his brother Dominique's physical qualities. He can jam. Has it taken away here?
This just ended up in a foot race. Bull was not ready, as you mentioned, to receive the ball. Had he taken a step before, he would have gotten it closer to the basket. Now Wilkins and Winston Garland just on a foot race. Winston made a nice little lunge at him.
Very nice.
But that's usually a play that results in a three-point opportunity, because Wilkins had every chance in the world to take that one for 2.
Wilkins drives home the first. Larry Smith comes in.
You can see Wilkins was upset. He makes the free throw, and he's still thinking about the missed shot.
He's a good free throw shooter, 80%. He's shooting overall this year, though, 42%. He can be very cold. One ball game in a big game against the Cavaliers a couple of weeks ago. He was 1 for 14 from the floor. Misses the second, his own rebound, and he makes a three-point play out of it. And the Knicks now have it down to 4. 100-96. Richmond right up the gut, and he finger rolls it. Richmond is approaching a career high. He now has 29 points. His career high is 34. Wilkins feeds Oakley. Reach-in foul on Higgins.
Yeah, they're probably going to call it on Larry Smith, too.
Oh, if it's on Larry, oh, it is, Jim. You're right, and that's Larry's 5th foul of the ball game. That really hurts the Warriors, obviously.
And Don Nelson is really trying to hurt Ronnie Nunn. I mean, he's talking to him out by the line. Yeah, Larry thought that he got a good block here. Now, you see a nice little play by Gerald Wilkins. That's a tough call. Yeah. Oakley goes in. He gets part of the ball, but he gets part of the hand. It's almost automatic in that situation.
Oakley makes the free throw.
Warrior substitution, number 10, Manute Bol.
Manute Bol is forced in, and Larry is a better way of putting it. Larry's forced out with 5 fouls. By the way, the Knicks have hit 5 of 23 on their three-pointers. And I've already told you that is an NBA record for attempts, but the 5 is certainly not. And the record is 11 for three-pointers made in the ballgame by the Knicks earlier this year. Oakley misses the second free throw.
Yeah, someone's not blocking off the free throw shooter. Twice in a row, they almost get rebounds. They do on the other one, of course.
The Knicks are shooting badly from the line, 17 of 28.
And Steve Alford comes in.
It. He has 4, Jim, on 2 of 2 from the floor. Warriors up 7. Here's Ewing over Bol. Ewing is really having a ball game. He has 22 points.
Yeah, that's his comfort range. He knows Manute is not going to come out to 15 to 16 feet, and he's just having a field day right now.
Ewing is 10 of 15 from the floor as Alford rolls it out, and Kenny Skywalker rips down the board. Here's Mark Jackson off and knocks it away. They call a charge on Mark Jackson.
Offensive foul, number 13, Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson, very smart move. He ran Steve Alford off of the back of Manute Bol, but the nice play by the Warrior defense just clamped him, and he didn't have any path to go to anywhere else.
Jackson's second foul of the ball game. The Knicks run at Alford. Alford finds the right baseline, and Richmond steps out of bounds. And the Knicks, with 9:42 to play, take it back. Warriors on the turnovers now had 20. Remember, they had those quick three to begin the third quarter. They did not commit one after that. They had 16 of the 20 the first half. The Knicks have 19 turnovers. Patrick Ewing, Bol lunging out. Bol rips down the rebound.
Yeah, he extended Bol right there, and it made him change his side, or at least think about it.
Alford behind his back, trying to create. Mullen right in the teeth of the defense. They're going to call a charge on Chris. Too much one-on-one in that sequence.
Well, part of the problem when Chris makes those moves is he's maybe thinking pass, so he's not really seeing what's coming up on him offensively, because he's looking around to see what he can create, and all of a sudden a guy steps in his way, and of course right there, now see, he was looking out to the right side to Richmond. Ewing just made a terrific play, just stepping in front.
That's quite an obstacle too, Pat Ewing, when he spreads his wings at 7 feet 240. Patrick Ewing has arrived, and is he putting out a display now? He has hit 3 for 4 in the fourth quarter. He has 24 points. You know, somebody very good in the Eastern Conference is not going to make the All-Star team. Moses Malone, Patrick Ewing, Robert Parrish, Brad Doherty, they all can't go. How do you keep Ewing off, though? Richmond, nice feed inside. Ewing knocks it free. Teagle battling hard. The shot clock is not reset. And Terry with 2 on the 24 bails the Warriors out. Teagle has 16. Warriors up 5. Kenny Walker, a suspect outside shooter, misses. The rebound out of bounds off of Gerald Wilkins. Warriors looking for some fresh energy. Bring Garland in and take Richmond out.
What an incredible shot by Terry Teagle. He has to do numerous things, double clutching, getting it up over Ewing as time was expiring.
You know, Georgetown, they started to stat-altered shots because Patrick Ewing would affect so many. And he has affected all of the Warriors' shots tonight. He hasn't blocked a great number through 3 quarters. They only had 2, but the Warriors have really found a way to get it over him. He is really some shot blocker. And Mullen strips Ewing. And if Ewing's smart, let him go, and he does. Chris left hands it. He has 20. And the Warriors a 7-point lead, and Rick Pitino stops it. 15,025 enjoying a 7-point Warrior lead with 7:53 yet to play. Milwaukee Bucks are surprising a lot of people around the league the way they have played. They have won 22 and lost 12 this year now after they beat the Hornets by 12 at home, but behind Terry Cummings 26. And the Lakers are the Lakers. They are now 16 and 0 at home as they beat the Clippers, who are the Clippers. The Clippers have lost 11 straight, and Gene Shue's days are numbered. Chris Mullen over to Teagle. Here the Warriors lead by 7. And Teagle loses the ball. Gerald Wilkins to Rod Strickland. And he feeds Ewing, who really puts it over Bol strongly.
Yeah, that's a big turnover. That's a 4-point swing potentially. Teagle just has a difficult time. He calls timeout now because he couldn't get the ball in. He could run the baseline. He wasn't thinking. But it has such a difficult time when he puts the ball on the floor with any kind of traffic or congestion.
That's a timeout called by Don Nelson. Only a 20-second timeout. Here's Patrick Ewing, and now has 28 points, 8 in the fourth quarter. And now Don has decided to take a full timeout, which means we'll leave you for a while, but we're coming right back. 7:26 to play, and the Warriors up 5. Fans, it is not too early to start planning for next year. Believe me, Warriors seats will be hard to get. For $89.90, get them now. 415-638-6300. The Warriors have a variety of season ticket plans to offer you, minis and fulls, so get involved. Rick Pitino is getting involved as he's over to the scorer's table. Not sure what he has a beef with. The Game clock says 7:26 to play, and the shot clock is at a fresh 24. What did you say? He looked like a character from Father Knows Best early on. He's a clean-looking guy.
Yeah,
he actually says if he wasn't a Knicks coach, he'd be a Wall Street broker. Looks kind of like Charlie Sheen in the.
Yeah, he does look like Charlie Sheen.
In the movie Wall Street just released. He and Ronnie Nunn are having a conversation that Don Nelson's not a part of, and now Don's roaming down. He wants to be involved.
Wall Street just released. How long have you been asleep, Dave?
Did I say just released? Just released on cable. I didn't see it in the movies. But
you know, I
saw it recently, and it's fabulous. You haven't seen what? I think Pitino has a beef with the clock. Talking to Jess Kersey with a Ted Koppel hairdo and Ronnie Nunn. Don Nelson. Well, we're kind of in the dark here, Jim, so what do you want to talk about? He looks like... You haven't seen what, you said?
I haven't seen Wall Street either. I'm going to have to put it on the video.
Good movie. Michael Douglas.
Well, they can't be worried about the game clock.
That's 7:26 seems right. The shot clock would be the only concern.
But they haven't inbounded the ball. So
and what's the difference? Because we haven't used either half of the shot clock all night the way these two teams are shooting.
I figured it out. I think Pitino was trying to sign Chris Mullin to a contract. Chris Mullin down there just talking.
Don't even bring that up here. Let me tell you. You know what they did?
That's collusion.
It's tampering.
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 I knew it was
collusion is a baseball term where the owners don't give anybody. 7:27 to play. What a tremendous gap they had. They had 7:26 to play, and it was technically 7:27. Pitino. Now, if he was up 5, would he have brought that up or not? Here's Alford over to Teagle. Every second matters. And the rebound is ripped down off Teagle's miss by Rod Strickland. The point man out of DePaul. He had some academic problems. He's had some problems with the Knicks. He is late a lot, which Pitino does not like, obviously, as Oakley draws a foul inside. Now, who's it on? It's not on Bold. It's on the help out defense inside.
I could tell you if I'd been watching.
Warrior foul, 13.
I was still trying to figure out the clock.
I'm going to tell you in a moment. It's on Chris Mullin. And it's the Warriors. Their team foul, but Charles Oakley.
Yeah, he does a smart thing.
He's in the act.
He cuts to the basket when his man leaves to double team.
Last 2 years, Charles Oakley, as Mullin goes off the floor here. Last 2 years, Charles Oakley finished second for the rebounding title. Last year to Michael Cage. Very tight battle. And the year before that to Charles Barkley. The Knicks are killing themselves from the line. They have hit just 17 of 29 and now 17 of 30. Coming into the ball game, they shot their free throws 76.6%. Pitino with a great free throwing team at Providence. He's going nuts watching this. Strickland strip. Strickland will score a layup. Right-handed left side of the Warrior lead is down to 3. Here they come again.
Yeah, it's the press. And Garland really dribbled into trouble. He dribbled to a swarm of New York Knicks.
Garland finds Alford. Alford throws it up. 5-point Warrior lead. Alford has 6 points on 3 of 4. 110-105 Warriors. The Knicks beat the Warriors both times last year at the Garden, 99-91, and here 125-119. Oakley over Bowl. Bowl made him change it, barely at the rim. Garland a tough board inside. Last year against the Knicks, Winston had a triple-double. Alford feeds Richmond, a great pass into Teagle, waits for Oakley, and then he scores. That's very nice Warrior offense there. Richmond and Terry made some play to wait for Oakley to float by. And Pitino says, hey, let's just talk it over. They're playing well. 6:05 to go. The Warriors looking for number 6 in a row, but so are the Knicks. Warriors basketball is brought to you by the Warriors. The broadcast department of the Golden State Warriors. Howard Zuckerman is our producer, director. Man, he can do it all. And Jerry Cole also alongside Howard does whatever Howard can't get to. And this broadcast, as always, brought to you by the authority of the Warriors, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the NBA is prohibited. The 2 most improved teams the NBA has are going out of the wire tonight. The Knicks last year at 13-23 after 36. This year 25-11. The Warriors last year after 33 were 6-27. This year 17-16. That's plus 12 for the Knicks, plus 11 for the Warriors. The Cavaliers also very improved. They're plus 10 Best team in the league at 27-7. The Knicks the second best. Strickland has it shoved back in his face by Minute. The Warriors up 7 come forecourt. And Garland looks for a 9-point lead. Garland has a big ball game. Garland has 27 points in this game. The Warrior backcourt having a big one as they've combined for 56. Here's Higgins on the outlet. Oh, he may have traveled inside. He gave it away. He traveled.
I don't believe that. I mean, he waited for the defense to come. He shouldn't have been worried about him.
Was he trying to draw a three-point play?
No, he was just worried about getting the shot off. He didn't want to get fouled. He wanted to make sure for a 2. He forgot to put the ball on the floor and took those little baby steps.
Well, Don Nelson is hoping that he does not have to look back on this tonight.
You know, so many times it seems like the Warriors have been stuck on a 9-point lead. We almost got one in our laps here, Greg. Good hands by the man in the first row.
Alford knocked the ball over our press table here and into the crowd. Shot clock at 16 for the Knicks.
You got a 9-point lead. You extend it to 11. You know, those are the little things that put you over the hump.
That's very little. Here's Strickland. Over to Ewing. Ewing barely at the rim, and nobody, I mean, not a soul wearing white inside to get the rebound. And Don Nelson's berserk over here as Wilkins gets a gimme. The Knicks scrambling on the floor. Tucker and Wilkins take it away, and Strickland misses. The rebound battle, and Ewing's going to have 2 free throws. And let me tell you, Higgins makes that layup, Jim. The Warriors are in great shape, but he does not. They scored a bucket, and now they have 2 free throws.
Yeah, and you give the Knicks life. I mean, all of a sudden they get second chance, and they're making the most of it. And this is all-out hustle on the floor. Strickland, who made a bad play a moment ago to take it to Bull, has a shot that just rebounds way off long, and Ewing just stays with it. Looked like it was a jump ball, but they're going to put him on the line.
You know, Rick Pitino says, I'm not sure if this is an elite team I have. They're very good. They may not have all the pieces to a championship, but they are a complete joy to coach because of their work ethic. I mean, the Knicks just give you all they have, and certainly Pitino demands quite a bit.
And they've got great athletes. That's what makes their press so effective. They are really quick with their size.
I don't think Rick's happy with the way they're shooting free throws. Ewing made the second. He has 27. The Knicks are 18 of 32 from the line. Conversely, Don Nelson's group, 28 of 32. That's a 10-point spread right there. And the Warriors up 6. And Higgins atones for his missed layup by sticking it in the baseline. 116-108. Another big offensive night for the Warriors.
Yeah,
this 5-game win streak, they're averaging almost 130 now.
As a player, that makes you feel a lot better. Just gets you off the hook.
They're going to call this a 3-pointer. The Knicks have tried about 25 threes, an NBA record, and Tucker the offensive board. And Wilkins finds a crack, and he travels inside.
Yeah, Don wants him to push it up before they can call time, but I think Pitino got the timeout.
Rick Pitino stops play with a timeout. He's the youngest coach in the NBA, but he is the leader in seniority in the Atlantic Division. Can you believe that, with Jim Lynam, Jimmy Rogers, Wesley Unseld, Dick Carter, all very new coaches on the scene. Pitino has been around this division longer than anybody, and he's an extremely likable guy. He really gives you all he's got. I think all of his players immensely respect Rick Pitino for what he has done, and they give him a lot of credit. I really like Rick Pitino. I think we're watching the 2 best coaches in the NBA. Certainly 2 of the better coaches in Don Nelson and Rick Pitino. Coming up, Wise Guy at 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock Eyewitness News Nightcast. Barney Miller, Pat Sajak, and then at 1:30 Night Heat following the Pat Sajak show. Pat Sajak even goes an hour and a half now. And so here we go, Jim. 4:23 to play, and the Warriors with an 8-point lead, 116-108.
There's the good hands by the man. You know, he played some ball in his day, at least at the high school level. Look at that. See that follow through?
Oh, you can tell by the release.
Yeah, look at that. He's got perfect form there.
Very good form, and you know, he's had a little bit of pressure after having the ball go in the crowd. He had to immediately flick it back into play. That was perfect form off the fingers. But right now, the Warriors are certainly a long way away from winning this ball game, but I think they have the tempo the way they like it at this stage.
They do, and I'll tell you, it's very interesting when you have about 4.5 minutes to go and you have an 8-point lead. It really is nothing. And Don Nelson doesn't want to change the style of play because he wants them to use some time, and yet you don't want to slow your team down. So the trapping defense, they're right there by the reach in of Wilkins, and the scramble for the ball between Trent Tucker and Alford.
Yeah.
This resulted in a basket. Now the Warriors are back to live action here, but this is the kind of situation where you want to try to score. You don't want to slow it down too much, Greg.
The Warriors break the trap and find Mullen. And Mullen gives the Warriors a 10-point lead. And if the Warriors think they saw a trap earlier in the ball game, wait for these final 4. The Knicks will throw it all at them. 118 to 108. Mullen's bucket gives him 22. Here's Newman for a baseline 3. Oakley, Ewing, and Ewing the tip. Ewing is gone for the big night. He has 29 points, 11 in the 4th quarter. And the Knicks are going to use all 94 feet. Mullen spins. He breaks it himself, and then he drops the ball to a little lackadaisical. Wilkins has Newman behind him. He goes in anyway and scores over Mitch. And a 10-point lead quickly becomes 6. 3.5 to play. That's what the trap does. I mean, they score. Yeah, that's lightning. Blitzkrieg.
That's why I said that, you know,
they got to help him out here. Richmond himself got through 3 Knicks. They found the right guy. The Warriors got lucky there.
I'll tell you the story of the game. The Warriors make the baskets when they have to. They make the plays when they have to. They play badly, but they pull themselves out of it.
Mullen is 3 for 3 in the corner. Higgins a big block. Ewing uses the glass, hit the top of the backboard instead of the glass. And Garland a big board. Under 3 to play in the game. Oh, Garland to Mullen for a reverse layup. Garland made a brilliant play. And Pitino wants another timeout. Now, wait a minute. The Warriors walked off the floor. Pitino went to stop play. The Knicks walked off the floor. 4 guys walked to their bench. Everybody stopped but Jackson because the refs never stopped the game. And Nelson's wildly berserk, and he has every right to be. Oh, my.
That's one of those little high school calls. The official says, hey, I didn't blow the whistle.
Garland a 3, and the Warriors incredibly remain composed to come right back and stick a 3.
They keep making the big plays when they need them. I mean, that was remarkable. I've never seen that happen, Greg.
Well, Garland has a 30-point ball game. Winston Garland does. Newman out of a double team, and they call a charge as he pushed off with a left elbow.
What a wild sequence.
I'm amazed at the Warriors' composure as Newman will push off here with the elbow, the right elbow, actually. I'm amazed that the Warriors could stay so composed. I mean, after a scene like that, you want to grab a referee and choke him by the neck, Jim. The Warriors calmly got forecourt, and Garland struck a 3. It wasn't a funny scene. The Knicks players, 4 of them huddled around Pitino, are wondering what Mark Jackson is doing. He never stopped playing.
He was the only guy on the court. Everybody else was walking to the bench.
That's like the hidden ball trick in baseball.
I wasn't watching the camera here. There's a turnover right there. I wasn't watching.
Basketball gets to play here, but it's 50, and the Knicks almost give it back. They do give it back. Oh, wait a minute here. Ted Bernhardt says it's off of Wilkins and not Higgins.
Do you get the feeling that you played in the game as Pitino sitting there? He's working up a sweat. Yeah, I am too.
Pitino has a long road trip ahead of him here. It's a 11-day trip, a 7-gamer. And really, frankly, heading into it, you would think he wanted to get one here at Golden State as the trip gets murderous. Richmond takes that baseline, can't finish, but he's on the line for 2 with 1:41 to play. And confidently, the crowd begins to head out. Sold out crowd. And now they all rise in one, as one, to salute what the Warriors have been able to accomplish. And I tell you, it is truly amazing.
I'd say the biggest dilemma, and the question is to ask, who's the most valuable player of this game? I mean, everyone from Richmond to Winston Garland to Mullen.
Between those 2.
Yeah, I mean.
But I vote for this guy, the way he started the game early. Because if you remember, the Warriors went in early in the game. Couldn't get it done against Ewing, and then Richmond carried the Warriors through the first, say, 4 to 5 minutes of the ball game. The rest of the guys got going.
He also got him going in the 3rd quarter. He needed a basket. He went right to the hoop with it.
Gerald Wilkins not even close, but Oakley the rebound, and Bowl fouls out, then goes nose to nose with Oakley. Jess Kersey gets in the middle. And Manute Bowl has been in a fight in the NBA a couple of years ago against Juwan Oldham, and now he points at Oakley. And now he's laughing a bit.
He's a little frustrated. I think Oakley was surprised that he talked to him at all because Oakley never saw him coming. Oakley pump fake. Now there's a block by Manute. He does come down. He didn't like the arm, I guess, back into the midsection.
Bowl fought Juwan Oldham a few years ago when Oldham was a Knick. and he came over the top with those arms that are so long, it's like swinging a golf club when you punch a guy, and he just railed Jawad Oldham completely over the press table at Madison Square Garden.
Let me clear that up. The reaction by Oakley is instinctual.
Right, certainly.
Instinctive, I mean.
Right.
I mean, when you go back, you get hit. You want to get the call from the official, so you're trying to look like there's some contact there because you don't know what they're going to blow, and that's all it was.
Oakley makes the first, misses the second. Higgins the board to Mullen. Warriors up 12, trying to salt it out, win number 6 in a row. And Alford's on the line. Oakley fouls him. Oakley has 4. And Alford's as solid as Mullen at the free throw line. He has a bit of a headache here, but he'll be all right.
Yeah, you knew he was going to take a pounding. Minute and 20 to go. Alford goes to the basket. 3 Knicks converge. And you can see they're going for the ball, but they weren't worried about hitting a little contact on the body.
And Don is going to be impressed with that play. He is told, Steve, right out as Mullen goes off the floor here, one of the things you got to work on is be tougher. If you can develop a toughness to your game like that, challenging 2 guys inside, they're going to last in the NBA for a long time.
I think he got hurt on the camera. The camera on the baseline there, he ran into it with his head.
Really? Could have pulled a Mike Tyson and attacked the camera. Didn't have to worry about it. Alford drops home the first. He has 7 points. He has 8 points. I think Steve likes his new home. Man, he didn't get this kind of point production in Dallas in a month. 129 to 115. The Knicks need those threes now. Wilkins just out of control going in on 4 guys, but they're going to bail him out and call a foul on Alford with 1:09 to play, and the Warriors up 14.
I'm surprised the Knicks were not going for 3-point range. I thought Strickland passed
Their
that
arms
one.
hurt.
Strickland, though, hasn't shot too many tonight. He came in and hit his first one, but he was behind the line there, and he took it into the middle and kicked it back out, and Wilkins couldn't get it off, and he had to dribble in traffic.
They had tried 5 in the 4th quarter, so we're going to say unofficially they have 28 3-point attempts in the ball game, shattering the previous record of 21. Ewing is out. A bit of a cold, going to take him to the bench. He'll have time to get himself healthy out west here. They're going to be in Sacramento tomorrow, Seattle, Portland, the Lakers, Phoenix, and Utah. You talk about a difficult road trip. The first 2 are the easiest, you would think, the Warriors and the Kings, and they're not going to get the first one. And the Warriors are heading to their 6th consecutive win and 2 games over 500. It's incredible. The Warriors go 18 and 16, taking full advantage of this lengthy homestand.
What's incredible, they do it against teams that you wouldn't think they could beat because of the matchup.
And they're blowing teams out. I mean, tonight's going to be a 14-point lead right here. The last game, a 29-point win against Seattle, a 26-point win against Utah, 14-point win on the road in L.A., and Mullen goes in and dunks. And the Warriors, the final score is going to be a bit deceiving. It was not this much of a blowout, but a 16-point lead. The Warriors have 3 players better than 30 or better, I should say, as Newman scores inside. Richmond 31, Garland 30, Mullen 12 of his 30 in the 4th quarter. And the Warriors have a 6-game winning streak. Phoenix, Dallas, the Clippers, Utah, Seattle, and now the Knicks will fall. Warriors will play Houston here on Friday, then off on the road for their own tough road trip. A 6-gamer beginning here on Channel 5 Saturday in Sacramento. They foul Garland. Strickland does with 9 seconds to play. And Rick Pitino will fall to 25 and 12 on the road. They have now lost 7 of their last 9, the Knicks have, and fallen to 8 and 11 overall. Talking to Rod Strickland. He's been doing a lot of talking to Rod Strickland this year. The paper's been doing a lot of talking about their talking. He has been tardy on team flights and the practices, but he's some player. And Garland rolls it around.
I'm waiting for Don Nelson to smile. He's still looking at the clock, looking to score.
There's 9 seconds to play. You never know.
He coaches right to the end.
Right to the end. Mullen goes off the floor with a 30-point ball game. Again, he came into the game tonight, the league's 6th top scorer at 27 tonight. Garland, one of the 2. Or pardon me, missed them both. He has 30, and this one's done. Wilkins, a 3-pointer at the horn. And it's fitting he would try a 3 and miss a 3 at the horn, because that's the way the night went for the Knicks. And the Warriors